Good evening, folks. Brendan O'Brien here. So I realized that not a great deal of Trinidadians are really aware what the conflict in Israel and Palestine is all about. Let me help you out. So, Palestine was seized from the Ottoman Empire in 1917. Shortly afterwards, the Jews started leaving all over the world to start building small communities in and near Jerusalem. Next to that, Egypt, Transjordan and Syria started scrambling for reclamation of the Palestinian land in order to further their own separate nationalist interests. A UN special committee gets called in 1947 to come up with a two-state solution after World War II to let Jews repatriate to Israel. In that special committee meeting, 5 Arab nations including Syria, Egypt and Lebanon all attempted to switch the focus away from Israeli repatriation and towards the issue of Palestinian independence, and an attempt to have those two issues be separated from each other, as opposed to Israel's attempt to make those situations, those issues, tightly interwoven. Long story short, those 5 Arab nations all got shut down. When the partition plan was drawn, the Zionists agreed. Only the Zionists agreed. And they started occupying despite disagreement from the Palestinians. Palestinians protested, Egypt and Syria responded, unfortunately, with violence. Israel retaliated, and not too long after the partition plan was drawn up, Israel started violating the terms of that partition plan by occupying all of the Arab lands. And now, Hamas is attacking Israel with homemade rockets. Israel is responding to that minimal threat with airstrikes and community raids, all the while still starving Palestinians of resources, kicking them out of their homes, and just generally leaving a large world suck footprint. Which kind of brings me to what this conflict is really about, or at least what it's not about. It's not about Hamas. Yes, they're no Nobel Peace Prize winner, but they're kind of the unfortunate result of 6 decades of Palestinian unrest. If we respond to the Israeli occupation, we're also responding to Palestine's need for Hamas. Also, a homemade rocket kind of pales in comparison to hundreds of millions of dollars of US-sponsored missiles. Killing civilians by the hundreds is a war crime. That's how we define terrorism, and that's on Israel, not Hamas. It's not about anti-Semitism. I, for one, don't hate Jews. After all, I think that Robert Downey Jr. is a god of a man. More importantly, that's no different from saying that South African blacks were being racist for fighting against their own occupation and apartheid. Palestine is being occupied by the Israeli people. Palestinians are having their homes torn down. They can be arrested for crossing the street and are living in refugee camps in Transjordan and Egypt by the hundreds of thousands. And lastly, it's not about your God. Look, I get it. You believe that the Jews are God's chosen people because the Bible told you so, and that's fine. But if God's chosen people can commit a war crime, they should be punished for it. And that's how the civilized world works. I would like to think that God understands. Look, I know that this is a complex issue. But the thing is that the situation as it is right now and has been for the last 60 years is not ideal. We, you and I, and people all over the world, the US, the UN, Israel, should be interested in making that situation ideal. I know I am. Blessings, compassion, peace, and love.